How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. And it is some Draai Laag Brewing time in the form of their Black Dinosaur. Now, I've been wanting to review this sucker for quite a long time. If you've never watched any of my reviews, you'll know I'm a pretty big fan of Draai Laag. I've gone down their brewery. I've had a bunch of their beers. They just do it for me. They're all about their wild beers, super funky, wild, naturally fermented beers. Yeah, they're the cat's meow when it comes to what I like in beer. And when I went down there to visit Dennis, we were talking about it. I did an interview with him. You can actually go back and look up Draai Laag. Look up the interview I did with him, probably about an hour or change, give or take, and filmed a bunch of stuff. And one of the part I actually filmed, he's like, please don't put that on the internet. Only because he was kind of had a cultivating idea. He didn't bring to fruition yet, and that is this beer. And what he did was he fermented a beer with ice cream. It's kind of bonkers. If you know Dennis, if you talk to him, anything about him, bonkers is his fucking middle name. And yeah, super excited to give this sucker a whirl. And this actually comes courtesy of Draai Laag. We did a radio show. I do a radio show on Sundays called Beer Geeks Radio Hour. Check it out on the internet, iTunes, Stitcher, all that fun stuff, and live if you live locally on WILK. But yeah, he sent a bunch of beers up for the radio show. He sent 6 beers, but we could only fit 5 on the show, so I had to set one aside. And just so happens this is the one I set aside. So yeah, whether it was gonna find its way into my gullet on the show or at home, it's gonna find its way now. Let's just say that. So yeah, as far as what it says on the bottle, it says Draai Laag Brewing Company, Black Dinosaur. It's an ale brewed with coconut coffee, vanilla ice cream, and fermented with vanilla beans, cocoa nibs, and cocoa nut. Story time: a velvety black ale brewed with coffee beans, vanilla ice cream, and coconut, then fermented with vanilla beans, cocoa nibs, and roasted coconut. Next time we ferment it in French oak Grenache casks, and once more in bourbon casks, just for good measure. So yeah, story time. We got 9% alcohol by volume. They just got distribution by Shelton Brothers, it says on here. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, made with Brettanomyces lambicus. Why did I say lambicus? And aged in bourbon casks. So yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So it's bourbon barrel. You didn't even say that on the front, did it? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I love it. Label-wise. Draai Laag. I like their super old ghetto labels. Their new branding is really cool. I dig it. I'm a fan. Gotta dive in. See what this sucker has to offer. Ooh. That cap wanted to come off. It wanted to be drank today. Let's put it that way. Okay, I expect it to be a little bit darker for some bizarre reason. Black Dinosaur, all the stuff going on. I thought it was going to be almost black, like stoutish in kind of color. But it's not. It's more like English barley wine, Belgian quadish kind of color. Defying gravity rockiness, which is usually you have that creaminess kind of defying gravity, but this is rockiness. Receding super fast. It's a wild beer, wild yeast. So do you expect khaki colored head, and it is dark, but like I said, it's got a quadish kind of vibe going on. It's not pitch black, but at the same time, it's not going to be confused with light any days of the week. It's probably the most head retention I've ever had on a Draai Laag beer, even though I've kind of swirled around. You can see right now, it's not, I mean, it's starting to go away, but it's not fighting to get away. So let's get a nose on this sucker. Just a really beautiful, that's the word I'm looking for, real yeasty kind of nose. This is a wild yeast, just pops right off of the beer. I'm definitely getting vanilla. I'm definitely getting coconut, not so much toasted, but coconut. Yeah, I'm getting like a sweeter, maybe it's a cherry cordial thing, but I'm getting this kind of sweeter kind of fruitiness out of here. So yeah, it's that funky yeast, vanilla, the coconut, and then you're getting this kind of sweet kind of cherry mixed with maybe chocolate kind of vibe, but more cherry, but it's like a sweetened kind of candy cherry. But the yeast is the star of the show. It just blankets over the top of it with like, just, I don't want to say organicness, because I don't even know if that's a word, but it's got this kind of real deal kind of vibe to it. It's not artificial. Not that regular yeast is artificial. It's very earthy. Let's put it that way. Yeah, she smells super interesting. I mean, she smells sweet, robust, but not overly sweet. Doesn't smell rich. I actually a little bit confused by the nose, which is kind of turning me on even more. So I'm just going to say screw it. Looks good. Smells super interesting. Let's see what she tastes like. Cheers. That's interesting. In a good way. It's so weird. I don't know. How do I put this? I gotta drink this a little bit more. That's why I like Draai Laag. The beers confuse me, which turns me on. You're getting, I don't want to say you're getting ice cream vibes from it. You're definitely getting this kind of bizarro lactosey vibe from it. But you are getting like that tart sourness from it. But it kind of, I don't know if that lactose is keeping it in check. Kind of like it does with like chili heat. But basically what happens, I'm getting a super nuttiness now on the back end. You get that tartness tingling on your tongue. You swallow, it washes over your tongue. Once it washes over, then you start to get, I'm going to say, you get like a kind of like a melted ice cream vibe. Like if you ever taken like if you ever licked the bowl of vanilla ice cream after you've eaten the ice cream to where it's kind of like a liquid kind of form and it's kind of coats your tongue. It's that kind of vibe. Much less intense, but that's what you're getting. And there's this little pops of kind of coconut going on through it. Very gentle. Very subtle. Not intense at all. Except for that tartness. It doesn't get too intense, but it's much larger, but in a good way. It's kind of got this kind of like, okay, I'm eating something that's sweet, but I'm getting this tart kind of thing off of it, which kind of confuses your brain in a really good way. So, let's talk about it. Is it one of the better wild ales made with ice cream I've ever had? Well, technically it's number one because only one fucking exists. But I'm trying to classify it. If I were to classify this beer, I would classify it as I don't know what I classify it as. It's a weird one. Anyway, wild ale. Fruit wild ale, which is total bogus bullshit, but that's what I would classify it as. Beer de garde, probably. That's what I would classify it as. If I had to classify it as anything, it'd be a beer de garde. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better beer de gardes I've had as of late, yes. Is it one of the better sour beers, or I shouldn't say sour. Don't listen to me. One of the better wild ales I've had, wild yeast-driven ales I've had as of late. On the edge, I've had beers that I think are much more exciting from Draai Laag, but this is interesting. There's a difference between interesting and exciting. So it's in the discussion, just not the leader in the clubhouse for me. Would I buy it again? Yes. How much? Don't know. And just say if you like, what will you like this? And availability, actually, I should get to that point, which is one of the reasons why I want to review it. They just got Shelton Brothers distribution, so you go, oh my god, Shelton Brothers, we get it everywhere. Well, obviously Shelton Brothers does like drips and drops of stuff everywhere. So I think Southern California, Hawaii, and a couple other places, maybe North Carolina and a couple other places starting to get Draai Laag. So keep an eye out for this shit because it's the real deal. And to say, if you like what, will you like this? If you like Belgian funky ales, man, that's where it's at. If you like Belgian funky ales, if you like soda, I get a lot of cola vibes off of a lot of their beers. So if you like soda, and if you just like interesting beers in general, because they're just killing it with their beers, and I'm just a fan. So if you like Belgian beers, you like wild yeast, you definitely need to get a Draai Laag call. At least, well, you can call them. I'm sure Dennis will talk to you. At least pick up some of their beers. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you did or you didn't or somewhere in between, please leave a comment in the comment section below and like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. Massive beers in all four of those places. You can check us out there. And yeah, another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice wild out right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.